What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Mill, if you like. Let's get into it. So, today we're gonna, first hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But yeah, let's get into it. So, today we're gonna take a look at the Packers offense and kind of what I think they're gonna do, and, look at the Cowboys defense and hopefully see if they can help out the offense a little bit today and not just let us get blown out of the water, even though, like I said, I do not see a path to victory for the Cow. I shouldn't say that. I see a couple of paths of victory for the Cowboys, or paths to victory for the Cowboys, but there's much more paths to defeat than there is paths to victory. So I really think it's going to be an uphill climb tonight, and it kind of sucks going into a game knowing that your team is probably going to get blown out. But that's exactly what I see here today. But let's get into it. So I really do think that as much as Cowboys fans, myself included, really are thinking the secondary is in a lot of trouble, even though they get Deron Bland back, and that kind of makes the top end of your unit better. Trayvon Diggs has not looked like himself. Kyer Elam, even though he's looked like he looked in Buffalo, I've already made this known. I really do think that coaching is the issue here. And I'm not talking about the head coach. I'm talking about the defensive coordinator. I think the defensive coordinator, as well as the defensive line coach, are doing their players a disservice. And you can even throw in a DB's coach here, because the Cowboys should be playing a lot more press man with two deep safeties over the top for help. And those two deep safeties in those different situations of passing, knowing that you have a team and specific down and distance, it should be like Wanye Thomas and Malik Hooker, with Kyer Elam, Deron Bland, Trayvon Diggs, and Reddy Stewart being up there pressing these guys at the line of scrimmage and then turning and running with them, and then allowing those defensive linemen to rush on the outside shoulders of whatever quarterback they're playing, or whatever lineman they're playing, to get up the field. Instead, what you have is pretty much all of the defensive linemen rushing down the middle of their guys, which helps when you want to contain the pocket and contain the run game. But in specific passing situations, even though you're scared that the quarterback is going to see a little bit of freedom and run up and step up in that gap and take off, maybe that's why you should have someone like number 35, Maris Leofau, on the field to kind of help close the distance in those situations. But I'm not the defensive coordinator. I'm just a fan over here, enjoying watching football, even though right now it looks like the Cowboys defense is hot garbage. But let's take a look here. So I think the running game is going to be a particular challenge for the Cowboys today. So don't be surprised if you're thinking, hey, Green Bay's going to drop back and throw it 20, 30 yards downfield and just boom, 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 boom. I actually think Green Bay's going to run the football because they are a running team. And Josh Jacobs is a load as a back to deal with. He's a very good back, had over 1,300 yards last year, and should be in line to have another stellar season this year. So let's take a look at what we see here. So in this play against Detroit, Green Bay lines up. This is actually a similar formation to what the Cowboys run. You got your 5 down linemen, right? You got your tight end over here. You got single back set, and Detroit matches it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in the box here. Single high safety look. So let's see what Jordan Love decides to do. Boom. They bring a man in motion at the start of the play. Now this man here motions into the box. So essentially, he's now an 8th guy in the box, but he's looking at pass all the way, right? Boom. So he's in zone. Now Jordan Love knows that the Lions are in zone. So if he wanted to check out of the run, he could, but it makes it a little bit easier for him to identify what's going on, makes the offensive line identify who they can block, and gives Jacobs an idea of where these guys are going to be just in case he breaks into the second level. So boom, on the start of the play, you see the line get some nice movement. They all kind of go hard to the right? So you got this guy here, he's blocking up, number 65, has this guy here, 74, boom, and then this is out here. Now you also have the tight end pulling around, probably trying to make sure that he traps this guy for a possible cutback on the play. So boom. So he cuts this guy. That would have given the running back a cutback lane, but the running back Josh Jacobs in this case is smart enough to keep pushing it front side. And what ends up happening is you have a nice block here, you have a block here, block, block, block. And then you have a couple of guys out here. You know, this guy is going for that guy. So the running back has to make this guy miss in the hole, which he does. That guy doesn't have enough room. Plus another guy gets a nice block on him. And now you have Josh Jacobs into the second level. And your cornerbacks are going to have to be willing tacklers on this play, right? That guy probably got held a little bit, number 23. Honestly, he probably got held a bit. But like I said, your cornerbacks are going to have to be willing tacklers, willing to step up on these plays and make a hit. So let's take a look here for the Cowboys, right? Boom. So on this particular play, it's very similar to the play we just watched here from the Packers. The Eagles line up, 5 down linemen tied in there in a single running back set. The Cowboys actually match it with 6 guys in the box because number 59 is just outside of the box, even though we know 59 is probably going to come screaming down to try to make a play in this situation. So what do we get here? So the Eagles, boom, snap of the ball. They didn't run any motion on this particular play, right? But you already see on the snap of the ball, let's get here, the Cowboys already have a mismatch because you have this guy, Donovan Izaraku, getting blocked, and then you have Marshawn Nealon getting blocked here one-on-one. Then you have a double team on both of the defensive tackles because that's the Cowboys' strong point. Now, what the should free up here is you should have Damone Clark either filling this hole or scraping, right? You should have number 59 here filling this hole or scraping here. And then you have this guy filling this hole or scraping here, right? Depending on what you see. But what happens? All right. So now this play looks dead to rights, right? This is closed off. This guy still committing his double team. This guy stepped off to handle this guy. So 59 is free and clear and 26 is free and clear. But what do you get? 59 does not make the right choice, right? And that's a problem. That's a problem here with your run defense down around this place because he's untouched. He's untouched. He sees the running back going here. He sees his guy filling this gap. So he should automatically be crashing hard into here to muddle this up, to force the cut back into this guy. And if for some reason this guy gets a block on him, you still have him here and him here crashing hard to finish this play. Instead, what does he do? He chooses the wrong hole. Running back gets to and through. That's Saquon Barkley. And now Saquon is left with Trayvon Diggs. And we know Trayvon Diggs is not making a tackle on anybody at any time, even if he's willing to. He's not tackling Saquon Barkley and stall-mating him right there, at that moment to stop him from scoring a touchdown. So it's just one of those things where Jacobs will do some of the same things. He might not be as explosive as Saquon, but as far as power and things, you still have to worry about what you see here. So another play, right? This is a play where you have the Cleveland Browns coming out here and kind of showing their front, right? You have Jordan Love. He's in the backfield by himself. Cleveland Browns assume it's a passing down, so they match it, with 4 down linemen and 2 linebackers, so only 6 guys in the box, right? So we watch here on the start of the play. They creep up another guy here. They're looking to probably put some pressure on him. Jacobs is in the backfield. Boom. He hands it. Nope, he doesn't hand it, right? So this is a nice read option. Cleveland goes hard with Jacobs, right? So now you have Love coming around this way, and you only got 1, 2 defenders in the screen here, 2 blockers in the quarterback, right? Boom. So you see a nice block there. You see this guy, he's got a chance to block him here, and all this is muddied up on the back end. So Jordan Love ends up taking the ball, and look at that. Gets around the end, 10-plus yards, first down. And I believe the play was only 3rd and 2, so they only needed a couple yards, but they were able to go around the end and easily get the first down just by having people out there blocking it up, right? So the Cowboys have to be conscious of that. Now, in this particular play, we watched the Cowboys defense, right? And this is not going to be the quarterback running. This is going to be the running back running. But we're going to see how the Cowboys defense is very undisciplined here on this play, right? So they came out with a couple of tight ends to the same side, and the Cowboys matched it. You know, they have 7 guys in the box, and then Chicago decides to motion the tight end over to the other side. So now it's basically a 2 tight end set, right? Cowboys still only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in the box, right? And it looks like here Caleb Williams is actually changing the play at the line of scrimmage. He probably sees something that he likes. He's like, it's a light box, and we should just run right into it. So the Bears are making the checks. They're identifying the mic here. Cowboys are making 0 adjustment pre-snap based off of what Caleb Williams is doing. They're just going to play it straight up. So, boom. On the snap of the ball, you can already see the problem. So you have James Houston here rushing hard upfield, right? And then you have block, and that's a double team block. You have a guy here trying to get on Osa. Osa gets free. He sees the play, but that's what he's supposed to do. He's the trap man. He's the guy who they're not going to really secure that much. They just get a little push on him, but they know he's too far out of the play. So now we look, and Swift, as he gets the ball, it's open, man. I mean, this guy can make a play, but he already made the wrong decision in a previous play that we watched. And right there, he's already out of position. Then you have Trayvon Diggs as a corner here with Roma Dunze blocking him, and we know how Trayvon Diggs is as a tackler. So even though he's willing, he doesn't really get a hand on him. Boom, you have an 11-yard gain. Now, it's not the same as the quarterback run, but it ends up being the same action because you end up getting the ball carrier in space with blockers and making the corner basically make a decision. And that's what the Green Bay Packers can do. They can run this same action, but instead it's a read option. You can get Jordan Love in space, or you can give it off to your running back, and you can have Trayvon Diggs out on the edge having to make a decision. That's what I would do if I was attacking the Dallas Cowboys. I would keep attacking out there and make the corners make a decision. Now, what's supposed to happen is your edges are supposed to set contain and not allow that to get bounced to the outside. This way you don't have to have your cornerback make a decision. But as we know, all the time in the NFL, things like this happen, and it ends up being, big plays in the running game. So one of the other things I want to take a look at here, and it's this one here. This is in the passing game, right? So the Cowboys have had lots of trouble in this 2 deep safety look. So we're taking a look here. What does Green Bay come out with? They come out with 2 tight ends here, and then they have their receivers in a tight split, single back. Detroit matches it, right, with 7 guys in the box, but what are they in? They're in nickel, and they have their 2 deep safeties, right? Although one's creeping up here. So let's see what they decide to do. Boom. On the snap of the ball, it looks like one who was playing safety is actually going to come up and cover, and the corner is actually going to drop back. And that's a lot. Honestly, that's actually what Green Bay likes to do. But either way, it ends up being a similar look to too high, right? Because at the end of the day, you have these 2 guys. You have a couple of guys underneath. But what happens? Jordan Love is very well protected. He's very well protected, and it's allowing him to give time for these routes to develop, right? Right now, there doesn't look to be any major busts in coverage. It's like, hey, he can come here, he can come here. But what do we see? When the Cowboys had to do with this, a guy just running straight down the middle of the field, right? Now, that guy came up to help with the tight end. You see this, and you see all this open field here. I mean, the ball's already out of his hands, but he can just lay it up for his guy to go run underneath, which is exactly what he does. His guy does run underneath. Boom, he gets tackled right there. Man, if he would have made the decision a little earlier and put the ball on his guy, that might have been a touchdown score, man. That was like such a well-designed play, right? So the Cowboys have had trouble here with the 2 deep. They've had trouble here guarding those guys. So what does Caleb Williams come out in? Pretty much a similar set, right? 2 tight ends and a couple of receivers, except in this situation, the receivers are split out just a little bit wider than the receivers were for the Green Bay Packers. You got the single back end. The Cowboys match it with 7 people in the box and another guy creeping. But the thing about the Cowboys is there's always a lot of miscommunication when it comes to the defense, at least so far this season. And this play just shows you as much, right? Because, boom, the ball's about to be snapped here. Caleb Williams is kind of looking at what's going on, but he doesn't make any changes, right? So, boom. On a snap of the ball, you have Jack Sanborn, this linebacker here, just biting on the play fake. And you have this linebacker here also biting on the play fake. They're trying to pretend, right? Jack Sanborn's like, it's a run. He just goes up. So does Kenneth Murray. Now that they know it's not a run, look at both of them try to bail out. But look at this. That tight end there, he gets touched by the safety, but nobody goes with him. And these two guys are so far bitten out of the play that it's over. Kyrie Elam is covering his guy. Trayvon Diggs is covering his guy, right? These guys are covering. Malik Hooker's looking at this over here, taking that away. But what the F? What the F is going on here? You see Donovan Wilson looking in the backfield. He didn't go with the tight end. The two linebackers bit so hard. This might be the easiest touchdown Caleb Williams has his entire career, let alone this season. But you see this? That's so open. Pitch, catch, boom. I don't even know why the dude fell. There was no one, around him. He probably was expecting some sort of coverage, a hit, anything, nothing. And he just gets it in for the touchdown. So this is the type of things I worry about going into this game tonight against Green Bay, because I don't think there's a lick of a chance that the Cowboys have cleaned this up within 1 week. We've had 3 weeks of sample size now, right? In the first week, it was nice. The second and third week was what? So I really don't think the Cowboys are going to clean this up within 1 week. So let's get on to some predictions, right? I have a hard time seeing how the Cowboys put enough points on the board this game. I don't think 20 is going to be enough. I don't think 30 is going to be enough. Honestly, 40 might not be enough. And that sounds ridiculous, but I really don't think so. I don't think without CeeDee Lamb and Booker and BB that the Cowboys are going to be able to move the ball effectively. If you told me only one was out, let's say it was just CeeDee Lamb, but then you have Booker and you have BB, I could see the Cowboys being such a good run team in this game that the game is shortened and there's not a lot of possessions. And maybe with a shortened game plus a couple of stops, you could end up, in a situation where it's very, very close at the end. You take away all three of those guys, and it's just I don't see it. I can't see. If the Cowboys were fully healthy, I probably still would pick Green Bay in this game, but I would pick it much closer. With the Cowboys missing as many people as they are, I just this is going to be ugly, guys. This is going to be ugly, and just get ready for it, okay? So if I had to pick a score, of course, by the way I'm talking, I'm pretty sure you realize I'm picking Green Bay to win. If I have to pick a score, I'm going to pick Green Bay 44 and the Cowboys 13. And I think those 13 come early. Like in the first quarter, maybe it looks okay. At the end of the first quarter, Green Bay leads 10-7, and then Green Bay goes up, 17-7, and the Cowboys get a field goal and it's 17-10, and then maybe Green Bay scores a field goal and it's 20-10, and then Cowboys score a field goal and it's 20-13, and you're like, all right, they're within a touchdown, we're all good. And then Green Bay just goes for 24 unanswered points and just puts the freaking kibosh on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm expecting Micah Parsons to have a field day because now he can choose to line up over Terrence Steele or Tyler Guyton, which he was going to be able to choose from anyway. But you felt better in the middle. You're like, well, he can't really line up on Booker or BB or Smith. That'll get muddled up and they'll just, hit him a little hard and cause it, to kind of just become washed. He'll just get into the middle and kind of get jumbled up there. But now you put Brock Hoffman in there and you put TJ Bass in there. I mean, he can take turns all up and down that line. He's going to be the freaking piano man, bro. Just let's go. So I think Micah's going to have just a humongous game. And Jerry Jones is going to have to sit there and eat that and watch that. And I'm looking forward to those sideline shots just to kind of see how you feel about the stupidity of what you've done. But yeah, so I got the Green Bay Packers winning big. I got Micah having a big game. I think Jake Ferguson will have another large target day. But I don't think it'll matter much in the grand scheme of things. If you want to know who I think gets the Cowboys touchdown, I actually think it's Javonte Williams somewhere within the red zone. But I think the Cowboys will continue to be good in the red zone. I just don't think they'll get there that much today. I think the Cowboys are going to have a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of passes in the ground. Let's just hope that it doesn't turn into a gigantic turnover day. Now, if you want to know the path to victory for the Cowboys, so it's not all doom and gloom, the Cowboys need a special teams big play. It doesn't have to be a special teams touchdown, but a special teams big play, maybe like a block punt that gets them an extra red zone possession, or maybe a dynamic return that gets them an extra red zone possession. The Cowboys are also going to need at least 2 turnovers while not turning the ball over themselves. So they're going to need to do that. And then with both those things said, the Cowboys will also need, if those things are going well for them, to run the ball extremely effectively. As in, you need to have one of those days where basically your run yardage almost identically mirrors your pass yardage. So maybe Dak Prescott only has 22, 23 attempts, but, Javonte Williams runs the ball about 20 to 25 times, and you have Miles Sanders run the ball about 5 to 7 times, and then, all your other times are split up between Kevontae Turpin and George Pickens, kind of getting some in and arounds and stuff, but maybe you rush it about 30 times, 34 times for damn near 200 yards, right? So that is my path to victory for the Cowboys, but I don't think that's likely to happen at all. Cowboys will fall to 1-3, and then we'll see what happens when you have Carolina and New York come in here over the next 2 weeks. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. That's all I got for you guys. Hit me up on Twitter at jmilleriyl. Hit me up at knockersonthebottom@outlook.com, knockersonthebottom@gmail.com. Leave comments, questions below, anything you want me to cover, or anything you just want to say. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you guys. Until next time, which will be after the game, I'm your host, J Mill if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.